Captain Mara Vance sat in the command chair of the Argus, watching the empty black of space stretch endlessly ahead. Her crew had been on the salvage run for 12 days, chasing the fading signal of a derelict freighter. They were low on fuel, low on patience, and desperate for a payday.
Ow.
Then the lights appeared. They were faint at first, just tiny glimmers in the distance, too steady to be a star, too many to be a single ship. The navigation system didn't recognize the coordinates. According to the Galactic Network, there was nothing here but rock. "And ice, Captain," said Rico, her navigator leaning forward. "Those lights there inside an asteroid?" Mara frowned. "Let's run a scan." A few seconds later, the screen lit up with the wireframe image of a massive asteroid, at least 15 kilometers across. Inside there was something. Metal structures. Energy signatures. Artificial gravity. "It's a city," Rico whispered. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. City inside an asteroid was strange enough. But the strangest thing was the fact that no one had reported it, not in the trade routes, not in the archives, not even in the oldest explorer logs. "Put it on main view," Mara ordered. The Argus drifted closer, its light sweeping over the asteroid's rough, pitted surface. Then a massive opening came into view, a dark mouth in the rock leading to a hidden hollow. Inside, bathed in pale blue light, was a sprawling city suspended in zero gravity. Towers reached up toward the rock ceiling like frozen lightning. Walkways and platforms connected strange domes of glass. "It's beautiful," said Orin, the ship's engineer. "Looks abandoned," Rico muttered. "No movement, no ships." Mara leaned forward. "Get life signs." Orin tapped at his console. "You're not going to believe this. Human DNA. Multiple sources." The crew went silent. Humans. Out here. In a city no one admitted existed. The nearest Earth colony was over 400 light-years away. "That's impossible," Rico said. Mara felt a chill crawl up her spine. And yet here they are. For a moment, she considered turning back. They were salvagers, not explorers. They had no business poking at things the Galactic Network clearly wanted hidden. But something about those towers, about the flicker of lights deep inside, pulled at her. "Take us in," she said. The Argus slid through the asteroid's open mouth, its engines whisper quiet. The city loomed around them, eerily still. Thin mist floated through the air, catching the light in strange patterns. "Looks dead," Orin said. Then something moved. Up in one of the glass domes, a shadow passed in front of the light. It was quick, almost too quick to see, but Mara's heart kicked harder in her chest. "Did anyone else?" Rico began. "Yeah," Mara cut in. "I saw it." They drifted deeper, past buildings that seemed half-built, half-decayed. The silence was suffocating. Then the cum crackled. At first, it was just static, faint and broken. Then a voice whispered, so low, they almost missed it. "Turn back. We don't want to be found." Every hair on Mara's arm stood up. The voice was human. "Hello?" she said into the mic. "This is Captain Mara Vance of the Argus. We mean no harm." The voice came again, sharper this time. "Leave now. You are not welcome." Then the line went dead. The crew stared. At her. Captain Rico said slowly, "Maybe we should listen to them. Could be a trap," Orin added. "Or some old military outpost. We mess with the wrong people, they'll space us before we can." Mara raised a hand. "Or maybe it's people who need help." They argued for a few minutes. Rico wanted to leave. Orin wanted to scan from a distance. Mara wanted answers. In the end, her voice won. "We're going in closer," she said. "Stay sharp."
Hey.
They brought the Argus toward the largest tower, which had a landing platform near its base. The surface looked unused for years, but as the ship's landing struts touched down, Mara could swear she saw movement again, figures ducking out of sight behind walls. The airlock hissed open, and cold, dry air rushed in. The smell was faintly metallic, like old blood. The city's ground level was dim, lit only by the flicker of dying lamps. Mara and her crew moved carefully, flashlights sweeping over rusted railings and shattered glass. Then they saw them. People. At least a dozen, hiding in the shadows of a broken archway. Their clothes were tattered, their faces pale. Most were thin, as if they hadn't eaten well in years. The way they stared at the crew was a mix of fear and disbelief. One man stepped forward, his voice trembling. "You shouldn't be here. We're here to help," Mara said. "What happened to this place?" Before the man could answer, a small figure darted past him. A child, maybe 8 years old, ran across the platform straight toward Mara. Her eyes were wide, her face streaked with dirt. She clutched Mara's sleeve with both hands, breathless. Girl said, "Don't go." Mara froze. The words made no sense. "You don't want us here," Mara said gently. "Your people told us to leave." The girl shook her head hard, eyes filling with tears. "If you leave, they'll come back." Mara's stomach turned cold. The girl opened her mouth to speak, but before she could, a deafening boom echoed through the city. Lights flared red. Somewhere far above, metal screamed as if something massive had just entered the asteroid. Mara's crew spun toward the sound, weapons ready. The girl's grip on her arm tightened. It's too late. They found us. The city's warning Mara Vance stood at the edge of the landing ramp, staring at the small boy who had run from the shadows. His clothes were torn, his feet bare, his eyes wide with fear. He clutched something in his hands, a small, silver pendant shaped like a star. Behind her, the crew waited in silence. Rin, the ship's pilot, kept his hand on his blaster. "Captain," he said quietly, "this doesn't feel right." The boy looked at Mara, breathing hard. "You shouldn't have come," he whispered. "They'll know now." Mara crouched down so her eyes were level with his. "Who will?" "No?" she asked gently. The boy's voice trembled. "The Watchers. They see everything. If you're here, they'll come." A shiver ran through Mara's spine. The asteroid city was supposed to be abandoned. Yet the boy's words hinted at something worse, not just survival, but captivity. Rin stepped forward, scanning the shadows beyond the docking bay. "We need to go now." But Mara shook her head. "Not yet. If there are humans here, we need to know why." She turned to the boy. "What's your name, Yuen?" he said. "Yuen, where are your parents?" They work for them. Who?" Haran's eyes darted toward the dark windows of the city. "I can't say. They hear everything." Mara glanced at her crew. Lysa, the ship's engineer, frowned. "Captain Hour comes are acting strange. I'm picking up background whispers on every channel." "From the city?" Mara asked. Lysa nodded slowly. "It's like someone's listening, or talking, but too quietly to understand." Mara stood. I want you to take us to your home." The boy froze. "It's not safe." "Oh." "Be safer if we stick together," Mara said firmly. Reluctantly, Yuen led them through the docking bay into the heart of the city. Inside, the air was cold and thin. The corridors were dimly lit, with long cables running across the walls like black veins. Their footsteps echoed. Every so often, Mara thought she saw movement, a shadow slipping around a corner, a flicker behind a half-open door. But when she turned her head, nothing was there. "This place is huge," Rin muttered, glancing up at the high metal. "Ceilings. It's like a whole world inside a rock." Unwalked quickly, his small hands clenched into fists. "Don't look at the windows," he warned. "Why not?" Lysa asked. They looked back. Rin gave Mara a sharp look, but she said nothing. They passed what looked like a market street, though it was empty. Stalls stood abandoned with rotten fruit and broken tools scattered on the ground. Somewhere a faint mechanical hum pulsed through the walls like the heartbeat of the asteroid itself. When they finally reached Aaron's home, Mara's breath caught. It wasn't a house, it was a cell. A cramped metal room with a single bed, a water dispenser, and no windows. A woman was inside, sitting on the bed. She looked up sharply when they entered. Her eyes widened in shock. "In," she cried, pulling him close. Then she stared at Mara. "You have to leave now. We came to help," Mara said. "Why are you here? Why are there humans in this city?" The woman's hand shook as she stroked her son's hair. "We were taken, years ago. We work for them now. No one leaves." "Were they?" Mara pressed. The woman hesitated, then the lights above them flickered. A deep, metallic voice echoed through the walls. You were warned. The sound was not coming from a speaker. It seemed to seep directly into their skulls. Mara's crew froze. Udon buried his face in his mother's arms. Rin drew his blaster.
Captain.
We're done here. Mara's heart pounded.
At it.
Yet, the voice came again, lower this time, like a growl. Return to your ship, Lysa grabbed Mara's arm. Captain, I'm getting a proximity alert. Multiple energy signatures moving toward the docking bay. Mara's mind raced. If they went back to the ship now, they might get trapped. If they stayed, they might never leave. The woman's voice broke the silence. If you don't go now, you'll never make it out. The Watchers don't let outsiders leave. Mara took a slow breath, and we'll need another way out. The docking bay doors of the hidden city closed behind Captain Mara Vance's ship with a heavy clang. Dust swirled in the stale air, and the silence was so deep that even their footsteps seemed too loud. The child who had run to them, a boy, no older than 9, clung to Mara's sleeve. His eyes darted to the shadows above as if something might be watching from the catwalks. You need to leave, the boy whispered. If they know you're here, they'll come. Mara crouched. To meet his gaze? Who will come? The boy's lips trembled. The Watchers? Before she could ask more, the sound of machinery echoed somewhere far away. A slow, rhythmic thump. Thump. Like the heartbeat of the city itself. Her crew shifted uneasily. Enoch, the ship's mechanic, glanced at his scanner. Captain, I'm not getting normal readings. Power's running, but it's wrong. Almost like the city's alive. The boy tugged her arm. You don't understand. The Watchers see everything. They hear everything. They don't like strangers. Mara looked around the docking bay. There were no signs of guards, no cameras she could spot. But she felt it, the prickling sensation at the back of her neck. They were being observed. She made a quick decision. Enoch sealed the ship. Nobody goes in or out without my say. Rhea, stay with the kid. I'll take Joni's and have a look around. The crew split up. Mara and Joni stepped through a half-open blast door into a wide corridor lit by flickering panels. The walls were lined with faded posters showing smiling human faces, strange. Since Earth hadn't sent colonists this far out, as they moved deeper, Mara noticed something odd. The air was warm and faintly humming, like a machine running just behind the walls. She stopped beside a window that looked into what should have been a street. Instead, she saw rows of glass, cylinders, each filled with a faint blue glow. Shadows moved inside them, shapes that didn't seem entirely human. Joni swallowed hard. Captain, those are people. Mara's jaw tightened. Forms in the cylinders twitched, their eyes closed, as if trapped in a dream. A low mechanical voice echoed from nowhere and everywhere at once. Unauthorized presence detected. Return to your vessel. Mara stepped back, scanning the ceiling. Who's speaking?
Show yourself.
No answer.
Only the soft worry of hidden machinery. Then, in the reflection of the glass, she saw movement. Up on a high beam, half hidden in shadow, stood a tall figure. Its limbs were too long for a human, its head covered in a smooth metal mask with a single glowing red eye. Joni's cursed under his breath. Watcher. Figure didn't move. It just stared. Let's go, Mara muttered. She knew enough about predator behavior. When something just watched, it was deciding whether or not to strike. They made it back to the docking bay. But something had changed. The boy was gone. Rhea was standing at the foot of the ramp, her weapon drawn. He ran, just bolted into the shadows. I think someone called him. Enoch's scanner beeped sharply. Captain, the bay doors are locking, and I don't mean the outer ones. Air sealing us in. Mara's mind raced. Whoever controlled this place knew they were here, and they didn't plan on letting them leave. From deep within the city, the heartbeat thump of machinery grew louder, and then the lights went out. For a moment, there was only the sound of her. Crews breathing, then one by one, red lights began to glow in the darkness. Dozens of them. The Watchers had arrived. The locked chamber, the door to the central tower, loomed before Captain Mara Vance and her crew. It was made from some black metal, smooth as glass, yet stronger than anything they had seen. Strange silver markings ran along its edges. Glowing faintly in the dark, it didn't look like it belonged to the rest of the city. Behind them, the air felt heavier. The silent streets of the asteroid city seemed to press in. Somewhere far away, metal creaked, a sound that didn't belong to wind or machines. Ren, the cruise engineer, ran his scanner over the door. "This thing's locked with I don't even know what," he said, frowning. "It's not mechanical. It's alive." Mara's eyes narrowed. Alive. Ren pointed to the scanner screen. Tiny pulses of energy moved like a heartbeat through the door's surface. It was almost as if the metal was breathing. The child, Lena, stood at Mara's side, clutching her arm. "You shouldn't open it," she whispered. Her voice shook, and her eyes darted toward the shadowed windows above them. "They'll hear you." "Who?" Mara asked gently. "The keepers," Lena said. "They live in the dark parts. They don't like the light. They don't like strangers." Torin, the security officer, gave a short laugh, trying to break the tension. "Kid, I've dealt with smugglers, pirates, and slavers. Nothing's going to scare me off." Something slammed above them. All 4 crew members looked up. A piece of balcony had cracked under sudden weight. For a split second, Mara saw a shape, long limbs, pale skin, and eyes that glowed faintly before it melted back into the shadows. "That wasn't human," Ren muttered. Mara didn't answer. She stepped closer to the door. "If the keepers are so dangerous, why is this door locked? What's inside?" Lena hesitated. "It's where the first ones came through. It's the hole in the world. My father said it should never be opened again." Mara exchanged a look with Ren. Hole in the world. It sounded like a wormhole or something worse. Torin moved to the door. "You can't just leave without knowing." He reached into his pack and pulled out a shaped charge. Mara grabbed his wrist. "Not yet. If this is holding something back, we blow it. We might not survive." Ren was already tapping at his scanner, trying to find a non-destructive way in. But every time he thought he found a pattern in the energy pulses, the door's heartbeat shifted. It was as if it knew he was trying to break it. The creaking sounds came again, closer this time. Mara's hand went to her sidearm. From the shadows, a whisper floated toward them. It wasn't from any speaker. It was inside their heads. "Leave. Now." Lena froze, clutching her ears. "They're here." A figure stepped out from an alley, not one of the pale shapes from before. This one was human, an old man wrapped in a long black coat, his face lined with exhaustion. "You shouldn't be here," he said in a rasping voice. "And you shouldn't touch that door." "Who are you?" Mara demanded. "The last one keeping it closed," he said. "I've done it for 40 years. And now you've brought the keepers." Behind him, movement stirred in the shadows. Several pale figures emerged, their bodies too thin, their movements too fast. Their eyes glowed brighter now, watching the crew like predators. The old man stepped between them and the door. "If they get inside, it's over, not just for us. For your worlds too." Mara's crew formed a defensive line, weapons ready. But the keepers didn't rush. They stayed just out of reach, circling like wolves. Lena tugged at Mara's sleeve. "Please, you have to leave." "Take me with you. The others can't. They can't leave." Mara's mind raced. Something about this city was wrong on a scale far bigger than she'd thought. This wasn't just a lost colony. This was a prison, and not all the prisoners were human. Then the door pulsed. The silver markings flared bright enough to hurt their eyes. The heartbeat in the metal grew louder, almost like a drumbeat now. The old man's face turned pale. "They've started it. Someone's opening the chamber from the other side." "From the other side of what?" Ren asked. The old man's voice dropped. "From the other side of the universe." The keepers hissed in unison, their glowing eyes narrowing. One of them leapt to the wall and clung there like an insect, its limbs bending at impossible angles. Her teeth. "We need to move now." But the door was already splitting down the center. Not wide, just enough for a thin blade of light to cut through. The light was not warm. It was cold, blue, and made Mara's skin crawl. The old man turned to Mara, desperation in his eyes. "If it opens, None of us will leave alive. The heartbeat became a roar. The crew's weapons hummed, charged, and... Ready? The keepers crouched, ready to strike. And from the thin crack in the door, a shadow began to reach out. The streets of the hidden city felt colder than the void outside. Captain Mara Vance's boots echoed as she led her crew deeper into the shadowy alleys. The people they had seen earlier were gone, vanished into the walls like ghosts. Every building loomed high, with narrow bridges connecting the rooftops. Dim lights flickered in windows, no sound of life, no laughter, no market noise. Only the faint hum of the asteroid's engine somewhere far below. "They're watching us," Jace whispered. His hand stayed close to his plasma pistol. "Been watching us since we landed," Mara said. "Question is, why haven't they stopped us?" Their medic scanned the air with his device. "Life support's stable, but radiation spikes are everywhere. This place is barely safe to breathe." Before Mara could answer, a loud clang rang from above. She glanced up. On one of the bridges, a tall figure stood, draped in a heavy black coat. The figure didn't move. "Hello?" Mara called. Her voice echoed. The figure slowly turned and began to walk away. "That's an invitation," Jace muttered. They followed through winding corridors until the walls became smooth metal, older than anything they had seen. Faded symbols covered the bulkheads. Not alien, but human. "This place is centuries old," Core whispered. "Older than any known colony ship." The figure stopped at a massive steel door. It hissed open, revealing a dark chamber lit only by a circular table in the center. A faint blue light glowed from it. The tall figure stepped forward, pulling back the hood. It was an old man. His face was lined like cracked stone, his eyes cold and calculating. His voice was deep, slow, and controlled. "You shouldn't have come here, Captain Mara Vance." Mara stared. "Hey, you know my name?" "I know everything that passes near." "My city," he said. "I know when someone is foolish enough to enter without invitation." "Who are you?" Mara asked. The man's lips curved in a humorless smile. "I am called Magistrate Kale. I am the keeper of Haven." "Haven," Jace repeated. "That's what this place is called?" Kale's eyes narrowed. "This is not a place for outsiders. Haven was built to disappear, to stay forgotten. And now, you found it." Mara stepped forward. "We found human DNA here." "How?" "The nearest Earth outpost is 400 light-years away." Kale's gaze hardened. "We are descendants of the Exodus fleet, ships that fled Earth long before. The Galactic Network was formed. We came here to escape from wars, from politics, from the Council's control. We swore never to return." "But your people," Mara began. "My people are safe because no one knows we exist," Kale said sharply. "Until now." Silence stretched. The hum of the asteroid's engines felt louder. Finally, Kale leaned forward. "You will take your ship, Captain, and you will leave. You will erase this place from your maps. You will tell no one." Mara's jaw tightened. "And if I refuse?" The lights in the chamber dimmed. From the shadows, dozens of armed guards stepped forward, their weapons aimed at her crew. Jace swore under his breath.
"I guess we found the welcoming committee."
Kale's voice was ice. "Refusal is not an option." Before Mara could answer, a loud alarm blared. Red lights strobed in the chamber. Kale turned sharply to one of his guards. "Report." A voice crackled through an intercom. "Magistrate, outer sensors detect an incoming ship. Not one of ours." Kale's expression shifted for the first time. Mara saw something like fear. "Who is it?" she demanded. Kale didn't look at her. "The ones we've been hiding from for 200 years. Mara exchanged a glance with her crew. "Hiding from who?" Kale finally turned toward her, his voice low and urgent. "You want to know why this city must never be found? You're about to see." The alarms grew louder. Through the narrow window above the chamber, Mara saw the asteroid's outer shields flare as something massive approached from the black void. It wasn't a galactic council ship. It wasn't any human design she knew. Its hull was jagged, black, and alive with red veins of light. Core swallowed hard. "That's not a warship. That's something else." Kale looked straight at Mara. If they see you here, Captain, you'll never leave alive. Neither will we. Mara's crew stood frozen, the image of the approaching vessel growing larger in the window. Kale's final words cut through the alarm. They have come to finish what they started. The Dayhaven vanished from history. The last light, the alien fleet closed in like a dark tide from orbit. Their ships blocked the sun, plunging Earth into an eerie twilight. The ground shook as their landing crafts broke through the clouds. Cities burned in the distance. The end was here. But the humans of the station did not run. Admiral Sarah stood at the control hub, her eyes locked on the holographic display. This is it. They think we'll beg for mercy. Let's show them what mercy looks like to us. Captain Elias grinned, blood still on his cheek from the last battle. It looks a lot like hellfire. Below, the people they stayed for, the scientists, the children, the wounded, watched from underground shelters. They had no idea what was about to happen above. The plan was simple but insane. The orbital station's reactor had been modified into a weapon. When triggered, it would unleash a wave of EMP energy so powerful it could knock out every alien ship within the system. But it would also destroy the station itself. You know what this means? Sarah asked quietly. That no one's coming? Back, Elias replied without hesitation. He didn't need to say more. Every person on the station had already chosen to stay. Not because they thought they'd win, but because those on the ground deserved the chance to survive. The first wave of alien troops boarded the station, metal boots echoing through the corridors. Humans met them in brutal close-quarters combat, steel against claws, bullets against plasma. They fought not to survive, but to hold the line long. Enough for Sarah to reach the reactor controls. The countdown began. 30 seconds. Elias's cum crackled. They've breached the last bulkhead. You have 20 seconds. Understood, Sarah said, as she turned the final key. 10 seconds. The aliens stormed into the control room, roaring in victory. They didn't see Sarah smile. The reactor went white-hot, flooding the station with blinding light. A pulse ripped through space. Alien ships flickered, their lights dying instantly. The sky over Earth, the massive fleet went dark, powerless. From the surface, people looked up and saw the stars return. The alien armada was falling, not attacking. And they understood someone had stayed for them. The station was gone. But the story spread across the galaxy. Humans had chosen sacrifice over surrender, love over life. And in the ruins of the alien empire, the name of Earth was spoken with both fear and respect.